Good afternoon. I'm here today just to give you a really brief overview of your Pearson textbook and where to look to find the ESL resources that are available within each of the textbooks. If you noticed, I was on the actual homepage for the Pearson platform, right? We're going to go to Browse because this is where you're going to find all of the different editions. Now, under classes, this is where your Google Classrooms would be located and all the things that you would add in, right, as you assign. And then this is data if students are taking some of those assessments that are built in. So let's take a look under the Browse tab. And here you find the editions of our textbook, right, My Perspectives Texas. We're going to go ahead and jump into the English one. I'm going to select that. Now, once you hit the landing page for the actual textbook, they will all look the same and they will all have all of these pieces within the table of contents. So just imagine that you're actually looking at a book itself and going through the components. Now, here is your Google Classroom integration, and mine is not a teacher account, but with a teacher account, you have accessibility to actually um, pretty much load your Google Classrooms into this platform so that you can assign text directly. And this would include, of course, the videos, the summaries, um, the English language learner support text that's in here, especially for those beginners. So important that you start trying to incorporate the Pearson textbook with your Google Classroom. This is a huge support system because it has so much on here that you can use with your students. So as we move down the table of contents towards the bottom, of course, at the top, what you have is all the units, as you well know, within this particular text. Now, at the bottom, you're going to find a couple of places where you would actually find resources. Number one, in Spanish, for those kids that are maybe true beginners and need some additional reading, maybe prior to actually jumping into a particular literature piece. You might give them the summary in Spanish, or you might ask them to do some of that background so that they then have a little bit of a foundation when it comes to actually reading the selection. In addition, you'll have a section that has audio and video within the student edition that can be assigned and that you can use. If we click on the audio and video, you're going to find that each of the units are there. And if I click within a unit, what I'm going to find is all the videos that are within the unit that can be used to support instruction. Now, these are not only good for English learners, they're good for all kids, but you do have audio and video almost for, I would say, about 80% of the different reading selections within the textbook itself. So these all can be assigned. They can be assigned, to the Google Classroom, and students can use that to really support them. Because remember, we use visuals and audio as much as possible when we deal with our English learners. So clicking into or going back to our table of contents, I'm going to let it go ahead and load. Once again, you're back at the home page, and in this home page, if you go all the way to the bottom, we're going to continue with the resources that are there. You do have, like I said, the videos, right? Those are the videos, the Spanish resources, and then further down, you're going to find a speaking and listening center that also incorporates components that can be supportive of our English learners, okay? So this is a very good area to use for practice of speaking and listening. And in addition to the speaking and listening, you should have a center that is actually titled English Learner Fluency Support. And if we click into that particular section, this is where you're going to find the Texas ALPS Toolkit that's in many ways professional development for yourself to support your instruction with English learners. It also gives you an idea of how to use the Pearson textbook even further and deeper as you start navigating and learning the piece. You have underneath that some QR reads. These are content area readings that can be utilized with beginners. My understanding of these pieces is that the levels, of course, vary, but they need to be directly assigned, and you would submit them into the Google Classroom. And of course, students can use this text to support their fluency development, to support their understanding, and to acquire some language, right? So it gives you it's its own piece of text or literature, if you will. It kind of sits in isolation away from what is within the units of instruction that are thematically linked. Now, just because the textbook is thematically linked, remember, it doesn't mean that this is the only way to go. You don't necessarily have to just search by a unit. We do and can definitely search by standards, right? And we can find the standards that we need in order to support our students. And so if you are, thinking about a couple of standards within our IFD and what we're supposed to be doing, this is a great way to go through and search as well. So the textbook is very, very thorough. It has an enormous amount of flexibility and usability. The flip book also provides kind of like a snapshot of the TEKS in a sense, because each unit, when you drop, there we go. When we drop the little icon, it'll open up all of the TEKS, and then it specifically gives you an idea of where within your student edition or within your textbook are you going to find these. So I encourage you to explore and to start really navigating and moving through the different components. But don't forget that those are the main pieces when it comes to the resources for our English learners. They're all going to be housed within that table of contents. And one last thing that I wanted to make sure that you remember that you have is a grammar center. And this grammar center, here's another video. The video library as well that I was referring to earlier. The grammar center, like I was sharing, you can have students work on worksheets. There's all sorts of things that you can implement into your units and program that, and all of those worksheets really are not necessarily just fill in the blank. It's pretty active learning. Here's a collection of different videos that might be associatable with something that you might be reading, or use them to support your instruction. You have a whole library of different videos that you might want to visit to see. So taking you back, I think I jumped the gun and went over that grammar center. So let me go back and show you. It is at the bottom. Once again, here we go. And so here's the grammar center. And you have tutorials, you have all different types of pieces that, again, can be linked and assigned through the Google Classroom. So I hope that this short video is helpful. I know that there is a lot on here to learn, and that it's just, a matter of time. I really do encourage you to kind of really fine-tune your planning with the IFD, and then decide based on those TEKS that are within this 25-day unit of exploring and understanding how to be a reader and what readers should be doing. In addition to of course, that now in high school we're doing the research throughout. So there's many, ways that we can find pieces within the textbook online that can help us. Let me know if you have any other questions right now, and I know that there will be, and that's okay. We're learning and we're using the textbook. My thoughts, though, is just, become familiar with it. Start using it, start working through it, start deciding from it. It is a great hub to kind of tap into, and because we do not have a separate textbook, we of course need to make sure that we use everything and anything available to us to support our English language learners off of the Pearson platform. So if you have any other questions or need anything else answered, please reach out. I'm more than happy to assist and help you in any way possible. Talk to you all soon. Thank you so much.